Hello, legends. Welcome to episode 2 of Keeping It Real with Mitch and Vic.
I'm Vicky Vanderleek and this is Mitchell Phillips, and we are the co-founders of Real Fitness Training, which was established in 2013, 10 years ago now. And it is the catalyst of, really creating life-changing transformations within the health and fitness space. And today, what we thought we'd bring to you is the journey of how to actually create this as a long-term game, right? Like life is a game, right? How do we create health? How do we create great physical transformation, great mental well-being as a way of life, not just when life is easy, but when there is challenges, when there are obstacles, who are we being in those moments? How are we showing up? And how do we overcome them while still looking after our mental and physical well-being? And this one's close to our hearts, very close to our hearts, because, over the past, specifically 10 years, owning a business, and just having the challenges with
Life.
With businesses, with owning a business, but also with, different personal challenges that we've had to overcome, is like, how have we still made our health, our physical health and mental health still an important aspect of those? And how has that actually helped us in those moments? Okay. And there has been times, I want you to really understand here, like this podcast is actually labeled Keeping It Real because we are also very human, right? And we don't always
want to train, want to eat healthy.
Well, we haven't always made our physical and mental health a priority.
100%.
So we have also had that polar opposite of not looking after that aspect and having the consequences of that, and what it's actually led down the path. Like obviously Mitch has had huge significant health issues. For me personally, it would be more of an emotional, hormonal imbalances within my body and a lot of, I guess, instability in that way. Yeah.
So I think the first part to what we're going to discuss today is redefining some key terms. And one of the things one of the big shifts we have to look at it, and I was talking to the team about it yesterday, is the mindset we have around, falling off the wagon or, or even rewinding a little bit and how we're actually framing the journey we're about to undertake. I think a lot of the time people try a health journey with the intention of having an endpoint. So they essentially play a very finite game with their health and fitness, where it's like, I'm going to get healthy and stop. Whereas what we need to look at is like, we need to play this health game as an infinite game. It's like the goal of health is to get healthy and stay healthy. And the easiest way to sort of drive this point home in real life is, it's like when you get married, like the goal of marriage is not to just get married, it's also to stay married. So, when we're looking at it like that, we start to play that infinite game where it becomes a journey, right? It becomes a journey where there is no destination. We start to fall in love with the process of being healthy.
Yeah, and I think as well, like having in the past I've had goals around maybe fitting a certain dress size or weighing a certain number on the scale or being a certain body fat. And, even to this day, like I know where I feel my best in terms of body weight and body fat percentage. Like I know, like you would know, right, when you feel your best. Like people always like, when I was this age, I felt my best, because that was a certain, I guess, set point you were at with your health, where you felt your best. And yes, it can be tied into a number or a dress size or a body fat percentage, but most importantly, what you actually, if you dig a little deeper to that, there's actually something deeper that you're actually seeking beyond just that arbitrary number. And that is to feel
being instead of feeling.
Yeah, like what is that feeling you actually want to feel? Is it that you want to feel stronger? Is it that you want to feel healthier? Is it that you want more energy? Is it that you want to feel like getting up and off the ground is easier? Is it that you want to be able to keep up with your kids? Like there is something deeper than just that arbitrary number. And I think when we play the game of our physical and mental well-being, to, okay, yes, that's an excellent goal. And yes, dropping 3% body fat or whatever, 3 kilos, whatever it is a fantastic, goal. But let's get a little bit deeper and like, why? Like, what's the why underneath it? And I do believe our whys change through seasons. So I think it's important to reflect on that as much as possible. Because my why before I had our son, Byron, was very different to what my why is now, and I still reflect on that. We're Byron's 3 years old in 4 weeks time. And even now that's changed from when I first had Byron. So reflecting on that why and understanding what your goal is and what the intention is behind that goal.
Yeah, 100%. I think it needs to be deeper than just obviously fitting back into a dress. You need to have a deeper context. And I've seen these play out in real life. Like I've had conversations in the gym where people are like, my progress has stopped. It's like, okay, why? It's like, oh, I've reached I fitted back into that dress that I wanted to fit into. So now the why has stopped because it wasn't deep enough.
Yeah.
So when you truly explore your context and you understand exactly why you're doing the things you're doing, and you're getting 3-4 layers deep, where it's not just about fitting into the dress. It's like that feeling of confidence I get by fitting into that dress is going to enable me to potentially become more social. And by being more social, I might go out on the weekends. If I go out on the weekends, I might meet the man of my dreams or whatever it may be. But it's so much deeper than that one thing. And I think it's really important that we're asking ourselves, trying to get 4 or 5 layers deep. It's like, cool, my goal is this dress. My goal is this dress because of.
So let's see what this looks like in real life. Mitch, what is your goal and what's your intention behind your goal?
Which goal?
Your health, your physical health.
So for me, the reason why I train to the intensity that I train at is not to win awards or win championships, but it's to be able to stand up tall when I
put you on the spot. Look at him fluff it up.
It's on my phone. I'll read it.
It's in your heart, actually.
The reason why I train to the intensity I train is so I can stand up when it really counts.
I love that.
That's why I do what I do. That's why I eat the way I eat. That's why I train the way I train. That's why I do the things for my mental health. Because I know when it truly matters, this is a thing, like my physical body is my greatest expression of me, the physical capabilities that I'm able to do. And I think for me personally, like being able to stand up in tough times when it truly counts is what's gotten me to where I am. And it's, kind of defined who I am.
I love that. That's beautiful. Mine, if you're wondering. No, mine, if you're wondering. So mine is definitely like the vehicle of life is this physical body, right? And I truly like very deep in my heart, it's like we get this, in this current body, we get this one lifetime. And I just think, why would I want to not feel at my best? Why would I want to have like the best quality life? Why would I want to wake up every day like energized and feeling at my absolute best? And who I can be when I am at my absolute best, when I'm having brain fog and I'm not sleeping properly and I'm just feeling sluggish and moody and all that, like I'm truly not living to my truest potential. So for me personally, it's like my body is an expression of my dreams. It's the vehicle to my dreams. It's the one that's going to take me to my dreams. It's the one that allows me to live at my highest potential so I can live out my highest potential. And that's really important for me. So a lot of people, will be like, well, I don't want to miss out on life. But for me, I would be more, me particularly, just because of my core values, I would feel like I'm missing more out on life if I didn't feel at my best. I would feel like that is, and that's just me personally. Everyone has their own journey and context and experiences. But for me, living my life to the fullest is having this vehicle, in a really good shape and feeling at my absolute best, because who I can be and how I can show up for the world, it depends on this. So 100%. Yeah, that's why I show up every day for me and for my body.
And I think obviously the next chapter in what we're going to talk about is like, how do we actually embody this on a daily basis? Because obviously,
stuff happens.
A lot. Things happen. Like life is real. And I think one of the things where I've really enjoyed teaching, particularly through the last 6 months and a couple of the nutrition boot camps I've run is the dial. And I think that enables us to actually embody not like physical health, mental health, nutritional health, spiritual well-being, all of that on more of a continuum, right? So it's like the reason why people fall off the bandwagon, and I'll call it a bandwagon for now, is because they're obviously the concept, the definition is very finite. So they feel like they're falling off something. But when it's a life pursuit, it's not you're falling off. All you're doing is delaying that endpoint by a little bit. Not that there actually is an endpoint because it's infinite. But coming back to what I'm actually trying to say is when we have our health and fitness viewed as a switch, it's like I'm either eating healthy or I'm eating not healthy. And it's like on and off, on and off, on and off. I'm either dieting or I'm eating as many calories as possible.
I'm having a day off. I'm cheating today. I'm not cheating today. It's like
I train or I do nothing.
Yeah.
I train consistently or
all or nothing approach.
And 100% the all or nothing approach. And it's like Vicky and myself are no different to anybody else. We run a business, which obviously there's demands in that. We have a small child, so there's demands in that. We both have personal purposes and missions away from RFT with the things we're trying to do. So, we live a pretty busy life. And
we have mortgages. We have all of that. We have everything.
It's how do we, I think the most important thing, the thing I'm trying to get at is we play a dial approach with our health and fitness. Yeah. So it's like, obviously we know what a 10 out of 10 looks like. So on the perfect week where everything goes to plan, like at the moment, I've got a bit of a head cold. So it means I haven't been able to move. Like I haven't been able to train because I literally can't breathe. But what I can do is I can still move my body, get some sunshine and go for a walk. So it's not like I'm not doing anything. It just means that my dial is cranked to the lowest potential at the minute. But I know when I'm feeling better, I'm going to crank my dial back up and hit my full training roster again. And this enables us to obviously...
With a little bit off because you told me that the reason why you did get sick was because you were going too hard. So Mitchie is like the ultimate all or nothing approach. And I'm the ultimate
consistency. I'm
like, I don't care about your results in the 4 weeks. I want to know what you achieve in 4 years. So I'm a great gift for Mitch, really. And sure, but then
my greatest gift in this lifetime is Vicky, no doubt.
Also seen, for me, you're a gift to me because
I show you what intensity looks like.
That's horrible. Yeah, well, you show me how hard you can push your body and the potential that you have out of that. But then when he's like at the back of it,
part of my core is my expression through physical self, right?
I get that. I get that.
My makeup is how I can express my physical body. And, that means to me is...
But when it affects my sleep because you're coughing all night, then we have a problem.
Anyway, so coming back to the actual point that I'm trying to make, which isn't about me, it's like, what sort of dial can you make for your own health? It's like, on your worst of worst days, what are the minimum commitments that you can still make that's going to you enable to turn up as that best version of you? And it might be simply as like hitting 10,000 steps, smashing 3 liters of water and hitting your daily protein. They may be the 3 things that you focus on.
Yeah.
But those 3 things are still technically...
They're moving you forward.
They're still moving you forward. They're not moving you back. Like what would move you backwards is on your worst day, if you chose to get up and do no physical exercise, which is going to commence that downward spiral of, brain fog, not clear mind, low energy levels, high lethargy, which is going to drive, the not aligned food choices.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to take not aligned actions to who you actually want to become. So it's like, what sort of dial can you make for yourself where...
Let's do it now. Let's get them to do it now. And I just want to point out as well, like it takes 66 days to create a new habit. 66 days. Like a lot of people, research was showing 21 days, but new research is now showing Atomic Habits. James Clear, must read if you really want to get deep into habits, is 66 days. And it only takes 3 days to fall out of it. We're not doing wagons, but fall out of the habit, right? It takes only 3 days to fall out of the habit. So it takes 66 days to create a habit, but only 3 days. So this is where the dial approach is fantastic because you can
actually miss.
You never miss, right? Like you never miss. And there's always something that you are moving yourself closer to. And in times like when, for example, when you're not 100%, it's like, that's even more important to focus on your health. Like this isn't a time for him to now just, I don't know, just go crazy, like with food choices and all that. This is a time to hone in on giving the body the right nutrients, giving the body the right, sun exposure to sort out his circadian rhythm and help his rest and digest and get him into that, proper sleep cycle so he can heal and he can feel better. So this is that app. And it's so important for him to be on top of his supplements right now, right? And it's so important for him to be drinking water, like, and to have movement, but take it easy, So he's not moving towards it. And this is when you're going to be able to get consistent results, right? Like for me, getting to my lowest body fat percentage is not my like, woo, like for me, it's like, I want to maintain it. I want that to be a lifestyle. And that's what I've really proven to myself. Not that I had anything to prove to myself, but I guess that's what I've proven to myself after postpartum, after having Byron, is how I've been able to, since that, I got down to the lowest I've ever been, actually, even pre-pregnancy, and being able to maintain that, for 2.5 years now since I've achieved it. So I think that is, and yes, it may have a little fluctuations, but it's not, it's the dial approach. It's the dial approach. So let's create a dial approach for you here now. Go, Mitch, run it through. What would
it's very much individual. I think there's
but just give them the framework.
I would say there's probably 5 or 6 key things that you need to have in your dial. So would you like to run them through it?
No, I would like to call it like the non-negotiables, right? Like a
daily BAMs.
Yeah, daily BAMs. BAMs means what? Bare ass minimums.
Bare ass minimums.
So, or non-negotiables. Like, what are your non-negotiables for your health every single day? And
so I will share mine. So for me, my daily non-negotiables is 30 minutes of daily movement. So I call it movement because it doesn't constrict me to having to be in the gym. It could be like 30 minutes of it could be a trail ride in the bush because that's something I really enjoy doing. It could be 30-minute run. It could be whatever. It's just 30 minutes of daily movement. From there, I have a minimum step count. So my minimum is 8,500. I have my nutrition goal is having 3 meals of 40 grams of protein. So that means I'm going to at least get to my minimum protein requirement per day.
Yep.
And then my water intake is 3 liters of water. And then I always try to do some form of development. So it's a minimum of 10 pages. So then my 5 daily non-negotiables.
So how would that look like for your dial system?
So for my dial system, that is my minimum, right? So that's the least effort I'm going to put in to my health.
Yeah.
On the days and the weeks where I have a lot more flexibility and more time, everything just increases from there. So my movement goal, instead of 30 minutes, it could be, sometimes I train for 70 minutes, right? On my step goal, my minimum is 8,500. That increases to 10,000. Why? Because I enjoy going outside and getting some fresh air and some sunshine and going for a walk.
Mm-hmm.
My water goal doesn't really change that much because I know that if I don't drink enough water, it means I drink too much coffee and I'm eating way too much food. And then my nutrition goal is obviously if it just gets deeper. So rather than just the 3 meals of protein, I'll actually hit my protein target. I'll have a fruit and vegetable target as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be like hitting that 80% mark for my nutrition for the day. So the minimum is like, what is my minimum commitment to my health?
Mm-hmm.
And then from there is like, so that would be my worst day. On my worst day, this is what I'll commit to. And then from there, I map out what is my best day. So on my best day, it might be, I might do 15 minutes of meditation. I might do 10 minutes of journaling. And that's how I start my day. I'll have a liter of water and then a coffee. And that could be how I do my morning routine on my best day. Then it might be like go for a half an hour walk to get some sun in my eyes in the morning and then finish my day with a half an hour walk.
Yeah.
So I'm well and truly clearing my 10,000 steps.
Mm-hmm.
Could be like a lunchtime workout where I train, with my training partner. And that's a 60 to 75 minute session because, when you get in the flow and you're pushing hard, it just drags on.
Mm-hmm.
And then it might be like I reset with my nutrition. It could be, 40 grams of protein 4 times a day, protein shake, fruits and vegetables.
Yeah.
Really dialed in.
I love that.
That would be like my best day.
It's a great example. And you from here, guys, take a moment now. Take a moment right now while you're listening to this and start thinking, what is your good day? What's your best day? Okay. And start mapping out what that's going to look like so you can go straight to it. It's like, well, you know what? This week's going to be, I know this week's going to be, I've got a lot more commitments this week. I've got kids doing this, I've got work functions, I've got this, this, and this. What is the absolute minimum I would do in a week like that, right? Because really, when we do have that many commitments, when we do overcommit ourselves and we do have a lot of things going on, that's actually when we need it the most, you know, to work as a way of relieving stress, to work as a way as clearing the mind, to work as a way as keeping our bodies moving towards the infinite game of health, right? I really like this like way of thinking as well about like when you're like people wait until they're not busy to start their training, right? Because they're focused on their health as a finite game. Well, when I'm not busy, then I can. But you're never not going to be busy. There's always going to be times. If you can teach and train yourself to keep to your health commitments when you are busy, you are setting yourself up for success for the rest of your life, right? Because there's never not going to be a time when you're not busy. Like
But
there's going to
you're
be
also
seasons,
You're now
right?
also not putting conditions on it either.
Yeah.
It's not your health is no longer a condition. Like
Yeah, like I can do this when
Yeah.
I can do this when I'm fitter. Like, you know, even that's a big one, right? It's like I'm not going to start training until I get fitter. Well, what does that even look like? Like, this is what this is for, right? This is where you start. You start where you're at. I feel like that's the big approach that we've always taken as well. Like with Real Fitness is like we meet you where you're at. We're not asking you to do, 7 days a week, 2 hours a day, like that. Like you've got to be realistic for where you're at, and then you just work on the 1% better. If you did 1% better each and every single week, you're going to be 52% better than where you started at the beginning of the year. If you did it every day, just 1%, that little 1%, that's 365, right? Like it's huge. Huge.
massive.
This one's going to be a short one today because we want to like test it out, like see what, our followers.
Short, still like half an hour.
Is it? Oh my goodness. No, 20 minutes. 20, 25. We did good.
Anyway, we did good. I was going to follow up with the dial with something else.
Yeah.
But I can't remember. I've lost my train of thought.
But yeah, I think the dial approach and having the dial approach with your movement and your nutrition and even your well-being is essential for long-term health, right? And it's going to get you off this all or nothing approach, right?
All or nothing is really going to go with it.
Okay.
Because it's coming back to understanding like the dial provides you with consistency, and it's understanding that like we all have shitty days sometimes, where sometimes our shitty day plan in our head gets thrown out the window, and that shitty day becomes a really shitty day. We don't hit any of our minimums.
Okay.
And it's understand like that's okay, because at the end of the day, we're playing we have a long vision, right? So it's like, one salad isn't going to make you lose weight, just like one Big Mac isn't going to make you put on a heap of weight. Missing one workout is not that detrimental. It's when we start to stack these habits. And that's when we have that bandwagon. It's like, oh no, I've had a bad day, I'm off the bandwagon.
I'll start next week.
And that one day becomes 3 days. It's like, okay, well, I'll wait till Monday. But
And
guys,
then
guess what?
I'll wait until
Monday
after my
never comes.
birthday. I'll wait until after this event. I'll wait until Christmas, until after Christmas. Oh no, it's the school holidays. I can't do it now. Like the more you wait and you're waiting for this perfect time, there's no perfect time. There's no perfect time than now to focus on your health. There is no perfect time than now to focus on your mental well-being. There's no better time than now.
The only other better time is like, the best time was 20 years ago, but the second best time is in this moment. I think it's also super important that we look for consistency rather than intensity, because a lot of conversations I have, it's like people routinely blow out Friday night, Saturday, Sunday on a routine basis, and they throw away the weekend. And I read this thing the other day, which I found super interesting, is like, if that is you, if this was a test, it's not a test, but let's say if it was a test, your mark would be less than 70%. Now, if you're scoring less than 7%, some would say that's a C. So you're putting in a C effort, but expecting A-class results. And I read that and I was like, damn, like there's so much truth to that. And it really highlighted again the importance of consistency over intensity for me.
I think another argument that comes up a lot, not an argument, but like, I guess discussion, a challenging like way to look at it is like, well, I still want to live, Vicky. Like I still want to and like, I guess it's different values and different perspectives of what living actually is. But, you know, for me, it's like, well, you can still do that, but you can even feel really good while doing it, right? Like you can go out and socialize, you know, and have a few drinks, but it's just saying like moderation, right? Because the level of just going out and, I don't know, living and blowing it out or whatever, it's chaotic for the body. Like the body just can't, like it just won't be able to sustain it. It's not made for that. It's not made to like just be blowing out all the time. Like it's made, and this is why we're seeing more and more people with so many more health issues, because we're playing this, I've got to live my, like it's my last day today. It's like, no, like live like you're going to live forever. Like, do you know what I mean? Like live like you're going to live forever and enjoy, be able to enjoy life. Like this one's a little bit deeper, but be able to enjoy life without blowing out, like without having to like, you know, just, I don't know, different values, do you think?
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe. But like, I think like you can still do all of that, right? You can still have that, but it's in moderation, and it's knowing that, I guess it's just a choice.
Comes back to how you want
know.
to score on your scorecard.
Yeah. And like whether you're playing an infinite game with your health or you're just playing a finite game. Should we finish that? That's good.
Solid. Guys, this was episode 2 of Keeping It Real.
Keeping it real.
If you want any topics discussed on this potty, Vic and I get together once a week to talk things life, health.
Just keeping it real.
Just whatever comes to mind. So guys, if you want any topics addressed, drop them in the comments below. We'd love your input.
And thank you for taking your time
to tune in.
We love you all so much. Bye.